Good morning, everybody. We don't need another song. That's too much. It's all instrumental. All right, let's cut that out. At least I got you pumped, hopefully. And let's grab this, and we're going to bring that down here. Pull that over so people can see it. It doesn't look the same, does it? Let's see if we can get that to full screen. It looks like that's as wide as we're going to get that bad boy, doesn't it? And then we're just going to bring this across. And let's drop this, get this camera on. And drop that there and get the camera on. Yay. And I want to put this up today. I'm going to type things into it while I'm doing this. Hold on right here. 1 p.m. bond auction today. You're going to want to watch the bond auction today for sure. 30-year. PayPal was a dumpster fire. Earnings. And ARM was a beast. That's really what you need to know for today. More than anything. Rug's giving me a very difficult time today. Not really sure why, but it is. All right, let's get to it here. Good morning. All right, let's get to this. Pop this in. Go there. Good morning. Double dipping AFRM. I haven't played AFRM. I'm watching a lot of the other stuff going on right now. I really haven't touched that. All right, we got a little coffee. Let's get to it here. Biggest thing to talk about, I think, is what's going on here with the dollar for one. So, and you guys might see this already. Anybody see an inverse head and shoulders? So you probably do, but let's just point it out. So right here, I'm kind of partial to the red instead of the blue. But you're getting this inverse head and shoulders right here. Wouldn't sleep on that. I certainly am not sleeping on this. It's not realistic for the indexes to go higher if the dollar starts doing this. Like, it's just not realistic at all. So I don't want an increase here. You know, it's starting to shape up a little bit like rates are going to go higher. I don't know why that would happen. I'd love to know how this changed and became that. Let me see if I can fix that really quickly. I don't know how the heck that happened, but it did. And it's vexing me. I'm vexed. So I know that that'll fix it, right? Did that do it? No, that moved it up. Well, that's not helpful. Nothing else. I'm entertaining as I try to use the internets. All right, let's put that there. Okay, good. So I'm not, but now I have to stay on this chart. Well, we know how that's going to go. I don't really like how that's developing. I mean, that's a problem for me. So I'm watching that. I'm watching this as well. See, as soon as I click it, now it's going to stay there. All right, let's just hope it stays there. So then you're seeing it here too, right? So Now we're getting above the 55. I think that's an issue. I got to pull this down, right? Get that in, get that. Isn't that in the shot? Isn't that what the kids are doing? All right. So anyway, I think you have to look at this right here and just watch how this is playing out. I'm not crazy about this. So I should be rolling, and I'm not, am I? What I'm doing is I'm not hitting lower lows. Now, did we get ahead of ourselves? Is that why? So I have positions in like TLT, but I'm below the 55 here. That's a real issue, and I'm staying below it. And I got all this going here in the 20-year. You have a 30-year bond auction today. I can't stress enough how much you need to watch that. Now, high yield held, and that's good, but that doesn't mean that the bond market's going to hold. I feel like I'm in a hole here. I really do. I feel like I'm in a hole, and I don't know why I feel that way. Maybe it's camera placement. I'm working on it, guys. We're getting there. So, and I appreciate the commentary about yesterday too. So about yesterday's video. So that took a long time to actually put together, but there's a lot in yesterday's video. If you haven't watched yesterday's video, watch it. This is the larger issue. This is your big issue that you kind of have to pay attention to, right? And the issue really is the fact that I don't understand why yield's going up. And it's a concern of mine. Now, it should be a larger concern for these guys. Like, this is the easiest short in the world, are REITs. And I really wish I was wrong, because I really wanted to buy REITs this year. And this is what I'm saying. Like, you always have to have an understanding that you could be wrong. Like, my big thing this year was REITs and regionals and small caps. And you can ask anybody in the room, they'll tell you that. That's where my focal point was. And I just very simply was not right in my thesis on that macro play. Now, if you watched yesterday's video, the way I trade is, who, what, when, right? Macro, fundamentals, and technicals, right? And that's really, if you think about it that way, macros who, fundamentals what, technicals are when, right? All right. So if you think about it that way, you can kind of see where I'm going with it. So I just get out of the way and I'll take the other side. I don't care. It's just, you want to be like water, as Bruce Lee used to say. Anyway, my larger issue is that if the REITs have this kind of issue, or if the regionals have this kind of issue, and I want to be really clear, New York Community Bank did not come out and say, hey, these commercial, so-and-so defaulted on a $500 million of debt, therefore this is the issue. So I think there's two issues out there, and I think they're not being addressed, and I think they're very different issues. And that's something that kind of, I won't say it keeps me up at night, but it's an issue. So that's the large macro issue out there. As far as earnings, you've had a lot of like really good earnings. If we just take a look at this and just do the simplest of things, and we go to this all sectors, which I always get asked to drop in. And if there's a way that I can link certain charts, just let me know in TradingView and I'll link them. Because let's just drop the SPY in there, get that going, right? All right. And what we're going to do is just look at this from here. And what we're really going to just focus on here is 7. So what moved yesterday? Solars. Why? You had ENPH. All right. So then you have the SOX, SLX, IGV. You can see the big names that moved yesterday, XLK, Home Builders, Cloud, and then the Qs, and everything was below the Qs. All right. But that's why solar moved yesterday. So maybe solar's overdone, because even as rates go up, solar's starting to get a bid. Maybe, maybe there's something to that. Maybe that's something for us to look at. I'm not sure yet. So I think we have to look at that as well. What else do we have here? We have the SOX. Everybody knows what that is. This is steel. And then these are big tech, block, crypto names, Apple, Microsoft, and then the home builders, or home construction rather. And that's also something that you want to pay attention to, so but they're just the home builders, home construction names, but just be aware of it, and we'll go from there. I don't know if there's much more to say or to do about that. Really, from where you're at right now. Like, I don't know if there's a whole heck of a lot more value that I can add there. You just kind of want to watch how these things are going. home builders are chugging along. I mean, there's a couple that actually look fairly decent here, but here, I'll show you. So like, what you always want to do is when you see a sector like that, I always think it helps to kind of go through, let's clean that off. I always think it helps to just go through like the top 5 in that space. So like, DHI came out, oh, sorry, DHI. And we're doing this again when we're slow for some reason. Quit that out and go save. Maybe that'll do it. Get rid of that. And maybe this, well, let me force quit a couple things here. I don't really understand this computer. It's like literally the fastest computer Apple has. And then sometimes I turn around and it's like super slow. But this DHI, you're kind of trying to hold in there, but not really. Len, if we take a look there, see how slow that still is? Very different story of this huge flag that's developing. NVR has just been an absolute monster, just an absolute monster. So, you're hitting highs again. People don't like playing it because it's, it's so expensive, but it's really impressive. And you're seeing Pulte kind of roll. You start getting into the other names like Home Depot. What's that doing? These were the 2 names 6 months ago that you saw like hedge funds really buying. They were really buying this and they were really buying Lilly. That's where they were putting their money. And, this is setting up to really push. I mean, like that's a beautiful chart. Technically speaking, it's almost perfect. You can see the cup, the handle. People say it's not a handle because it's up here, whatever. Either way, what'd you do? You hit support, tested it, bounced, took out a higher high, couldn't get there again, right? And then flipped. So there's money flowing into the home builders. But is it flowing into the home builders or is it flowing into like the NVRs of the world, which are not just home builders, like they're set up a little bit differently, right? And then it's flowing into like the Home Depots too. And then you go, okay, well, what about Lowe's? Well, Lowe's just moved yesterday. So what's going on here? Well, they're all coming into earnings. So is this the next sector that we're going to play into earnings? It's a good question. It's a really good question, right? So I actually think at this stage in the game, you're better off looking at the Home Depots and Lowe's. I don't know if you've missed it or not, but I think it warrants this. I also would just look at that. Isn't that cool how that mapped out? I think it's cool. So, just FYI, let's just take a look at that and we'll go from there. Now, a couple things. The response I got to last night's videos or the videos I've been doing where I'm taking more questions and talking like more shop about position size and things like that. I'm working on actually doing like Q&As. I might do it like a live Q&A on Friday for a period of time, like after hour, like a happy hour thing or something. I'll have to figure it out. Where I can just talk like informally, because I get a lot of questions like, why do you position size the way that you do on certain trades? And for swings, they're basically all the same. But if I'm going to press the bet, like if I'm pressing the bet on a day trade, like they're not all the same. Like, ARM last night was not the same. And I should probably talk about this. Like ARM was not the same. When I was pressing my short on Snap, that was not the same. They're much larger positions. When I bet on Meta after hours, it's not the same. So it boils down to what I went through on Saturday with explaining reflexivity and looking for like the difference in moves. I don't want to get too into it because it's a pre-market video, but I'm seriously thinking that there might be value in that where we just talk and I just take questions. Let me just throw this up real quick so that you get this. Now, this was a blowout by any stretch. And if you watch last night's video, I showed timestamps. You can see that we were actually in this thing in the 60s. Like we started buying this in like 62, right? All right. So what I try to get people to do, if they like to, is just drop an anchored VWAP, on the first 5-minute bar. Okay. And some people will say, well, my anchor VWAP's different. I get that question a lot. Well, is your source open, high, low, close, or is it just set to close or open? I have no idea what you're doing, but you can go there. You can always put these bands on too. If you want to put bands on it and just see where you're at. Sometimes I will use the bands just because I think they're cool, but in all seriousness, like if you put bands on them right after hours, can it be helpful? It can kind of show where you're at, but you're dealing with so much news. You really don't know what's going to happen. What I have sold here because I was at a second standard deviation, off of the anchored VWAP after hours? Not really. No. See, like, just remember, Bollinger Bands, the way that they work, it's worth actually talking about this. There's a 67% chance you're going to stay in that range. I think there's a 95% chance you're going to stay in that range. And there's a 99.7% chance you're going to stay in that range. So when you don't, right? So there's only like a 30-something% chance you're going to pop out of that. There's only a 5% chance you're going to pop out of that. There's only a 0.3% chance you're going to pop out of that. So when you see it, right, you know that you're seeing an anomaly, right? So like when you're up here, you kind of have a sense like, but what some people will do is like, oh, I'm not going to buy because of that. Well, you don't know the news. You don't know what's going to happen. So you don't know how goofy this is going to get and how wide these can get. And that's why, maybe you should use them after, like maybe after the conference call, you could put them on. I don't think that's the worst idea, but if you overlay this last night, you can just see when he started speaking, these always trade up. I say always, nothing is always, even though I will use the word always. When you are trading the stuff after hours, and I've been trading stocks after hours on earnings for a long time. You can ask people in the room, but I've been doing it for over 18 years. It's silly to me that people say, I don't trade earnings. Well, you don't know how to trade earnings, right? Like maybe you should learn the skill set, because the single greatest moves that happen in charts happen after hours during what? Earnings call. Why? It boils back to like what I talked about in Saturday's video, reflexivity, right? Something happens and someone's not expecting it to happen. So it's either going to be good or bad, and someone's not expecting it. And then the stock is going to move violently based upon how people are thinking about it, right? And it can go either way. Like ENPH, everyone's like dumpster fire. No one's buying solar panels, right? I mean, if you listen to me, you'd think that people are like ripping them off the roofs and no one's ever going to have them again, right? And it's a dumpster fire, and people are going, oh, but it bounced. Okay, well, goes back to sentiment. Bad news, stock goes higher. Sentiment is changing. For how long, we don't know, but it is. All right, let's go back to this. Let's get some things done here, because I got 10 minutes and I want to take questions, because I'm going to have to wrap this up at 9 today. But if I take a look here, this was a good quarter. Here's your problem with the call, and here's where you're going to run into an issue with it today. The issue you're going to run into today is that all the growth came from China. Every analyst is going to be extremely suspect in that. Okay. If you have a good phone or a good computer, globally, everybody's going to use it, right? Everybody's going to use it. That's not what happened here. China was all the growth. It's an issue. And I think that might pop up today. I'm leaning towards, is this going to be our AVGO moment? And what do I mean by that? Like, remember when AVGO was here and it traded up, and everyone's like, no one's ever going to buy an AI chip again, right? And then you had 3/4 of consolidation. Anybody see a pattern, by the way? 3/4 of consolidation, right? 1, 2, 3/4 of consolidation. Anybody see a pattern? Anybody, right? 3/4 of consolidation, 1, 2, 3, breaks out. Bueller, anyone? So what you're seeing here is that, what you're seeing here more than anything is, for me, I thought it was a great quarter. I'm very happy. Obviously, we got the first position off in the low 60s, bought some at 70. I'm coming in today. I'm feeling good about myself, right? I don't know if today's a day where, I get that nasty shooting star. And it's a concern of mine. And if you get a nasty shooting star here, they're going to destroy semis today. And it's kind of like a pickle, isn't it? Because you're looking at that, and how can you say that that's going to get destroyed? There's nothing technical that's going to tell you that's getting destroyed. Nothing. A matter of fact, it's telling you you're getting ready to rip people's faces off. And what they're going to do is extrapolate out ARM's quarter and overlay that and try to figure out what NVIDIA is going to do in a couple weeks, right? That's where it seems like we're going with it. So do what you want with that. Let's get into some questions here. I did get asked about PLTR last night, and I want to give it some love to some people. You guys killed it on this trade. It's not, I took some money out of it, but you guys absolutely killed it. You're hitting every single level. You flip this, start getting through the minutia. I mean, you're really looking at 27. You really are. It's acting great for you guys. I really wouldn't listen to me with it. I'm like, I'm so in my own head about it. I hate the way it trades. It's a very difficult name to trade, to say the least. And, I'm just not a fan of the company, but that doesn't mean I'm right. And so what I tend to do with these kinds of names is when I realize that I have a bias, I just avoid them because I'm just not, I won't trade them effectively, right? I just know that about myself. So I'll still whack it around. I did yesterday and pulled a little money out, but this looks great, guys. And candidly, when I say things about it, just don't listen, just do you. But you're coming into a bunch of stuff here. So what I would do, because I did get asked about this, and some gentleman asked last night in the comments. So I do read everybody's comments that are on the post videos. I'm trying to get them out at 5. It's been like I've been slammed lately, like literally slammed between doing everything. The videos, the newsletters, like just absolutely slammed. It's why I keep the community small, candidly. But if I go back here, I don't want to go back 4 years, but we're going to have to some extent. Actually, what we should really do is go back to the weekly and just look at everything and just pop this in, right? Now, why are we going back to the weekly? Well, I want to go back to the weekly. Let's leave this out here. I want to go back to the weekly because I want to show this, because I think this is important. So this is the red line's volume by price, right? See how you're running into a shelf right here on the weekly? That's a big deal. This is about as tough as it's going to get up here, okay, on volume. So whenever you don't know where the players are and you're wondering how much crap is still in here, crap's the technical term, and you're trying to figure out that, go to a weekly chart and drop in just very simple volume by price. And you can always play with the volume by price, right? You can always get into that a little bit more and change the row size, right? Depending upon how big and how detailed you want to get, okay? And that'll get into the row size and show you where's the bigger part of that, right? So if the bigger part was up here, you'd go, oh, well, it's really near 27. But understand that when you get through 25, and you can keep changing that, right? And so that what you're doing here, I'm giving too many lessons today, aren't I? All right. But what you're doing here is you now know that this is the tough part, right? That's the tough part. And you did that by splitting these bars into other little bars. I hope that's helpful. All right, let's get to it. 855. Good Lord. ARM looks great. Very little to say. CRUS. This was my first, God, this company's still around. This was my first 1,000 share trade years ago. Wow. You're still around, huh? Wow. I don't like that doji at all. I wouldn't touch it because of that doji, John. I really wouldn't. John coming in at 7. I don't like that at all. Let's see. I went over ARM, PRU. Man, oh man. Why are you down? Earnings? You might want to watch that. You might want to, I want to watch that because they might bounce on that. Double dipping a firm. Mary coming in early. How's France treating you, Mary? Bonsoir. Is that morning? Bonsoir. I went to a French Indies island once, tried to speak French. They just asked me to stop. I said, please stop. Would you please stop? Sweet Jesus, just stop. But they want you to try because it's like you're American. You think everybody speaks English. You need the bond market to break. Maybe at 1 o'clock. I'm put an anchored VWAP up here from that move. I have yet to even get over it. If I took this out, Mayor, and here, watch. If I take that out and remove that, and I drop this here, and I go here. Oh, sorry, guys. And you see right there from that peak, maybe if you can get over that peak and make that higher high, maybe, because that would mean that everybody from the peak is now up. So where does VWAP have value? VWAP has value at peaks and troughs. That's where the value is on it, right? Everything else is really, you can use them on time for tax purposes, but that can change. All right. I like that, Mayor. Taiwan looks like a beast. Like this looks like an absolute utter beast. The channel checks coming out. We talked about this a couple days ago. I did nothing with it. I was so busy with other names. Channel checks coming out of, well, that's not going to work. No coffee. That is definitely not going to work. Coming out of Taiwan on capacity utilization or through the roof. Not just there, but across other foundries as well. So that's really good. I missed that yesterday. I don't know that I'm chasing that today. I'd be more interested maybe in buying ASML that's going to open down 1%, because there's no way that ASML is going to stay down and Taiwan's going to go up. It's just not going to work that way. Ralph Lauren, I want to watch very closely today. Very, very closely. Look at that. Anything special? Oh, I had something. I have something I want to show. Hold on. Hold on. I actually want to show this. Here, where do you see this? So I got this out of a research report from Goldman today. They were talking about top 10 things. And this is the Daily Shot. I don't know who they are. I don't know if it's a good newsletter or not, but I thought it was interesting that Goldman was putting someone else's stuff up here. I think it's just because they put it in purple. This is Fred, so anyone can go there and get this. This is student loan debt. Now, what we keep hearing is these student loan payments are going to crush people, right? And I'm not saying that they're not. It's absolutely insane. You got to go spend 200 grand to go get a basket weaving degree. But when you see this kind of stuff, well, this is them collapsing. This is student loans down 37 billion in a quarter, right? Compared to 22. Okay. So it's getting paid off. So what we were expecting to happen with retail because of student loans, that's why it's not happening, that graph. And that ties into where we were with like ANF, right? These names. Okay. So I like Ralph Lauren a lot. I have not read this quarter. I've been absolutely slammed this morning, but I like that a lot. Microsoft, I like it long-term. I don't know if this is your day, Mayor, if you're day trading it. I don't know if today's the day. I really don't. I mean, XLK was outperforming yesterday, but so was IGV. I don't know if today's your day or not. Maybe on the dip, maybe. Let's get to it. AFRM, yeah, that worked out well. Thanks. Please hit the like button. 500 people in the room. You know, Bo, here's the thing. Here's the thing, man. So like IRBT, right? And this is a really good question. So here's a corporation, right, that thought they were getting bought for what? The past 2 years? For 2 years, they thought they were getting bought, right? So when you go and look at it, I forget how long this merger was. Was it back here or wherever this merger was going to get done, right? And now you're back to where you were at 07 and 08. I personally think that a year from now or 6 months from now, they're going to start cutting costs, being profitable, because they had a completely different outlook. They're like, oh, Amazon's going to buy us and they're going to, put Alexa in the vacuum cleaners. But, the government doesn't want them watching us through the vacuums for some reason. But everything else is okay. But it's that vacuum cleaner. That's what's going to get us. I don't really get it. I really don't. But whatever. So I think there's something to it. I think you're super early. It could be. Depends on the revision. I use 3 trading platforms. I would suggest that depending on who you use, there are bolt-on services. Now, there's one service that I tell guys to use because you can use it, like retail can use it really simple. It'll cost you like $100 or $200 a month. Go look up something called DAS Trader, DASTRADER. Go look that up. If I don't know your capital size, it's none of my business. If you can, I would get an interactive brokers account because you can trade globally and overnight and on different markets. I'll leave it at that. I think PLTR has more juice. SMCI, I'm just whacking around at this point. I'm just trading it. I'm doing quite well with the trades, but that's where you're at there. Hood. Let's do Hood, and then we're going to do ICE. What is this? What are we doing? I mean, I think you got too much nonsense there. I'm not playing with that. I think you got too much nonsense there. This can be something. This can really be something, Jacob. Look at that flag. I like the ICE trade. I like the ICE trade a lot. That's the only one I'm going to be able to get to. Good morning, Boomer. Thoughts on XLI? I think XLI's got some issues if the dollar keeps doing this. I'm actually surprised CAT's not down more. Tilray, I wouldn't go near. Good morning. Arm's a beast. What's up, Rock? PLTR is an absolute beast lately. I think there's a couple. Cloudflare would be crazy. Disney's actually hanging in there, isn't it? Well, did you see the rise? There's a chart floating out there. Go look at the rise in prices of shipping out of Asia and avoiding the Red Sea right now. Yeah, I say it. We went over it. No, Bob is in a lot of trouble. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like they're crushing it. All these companies are crushing it. Morning. Rum looks great, guys. I truly don't think people get. I really don't think people get the this product that they rolled out. I really don't. As someone, that I'm always called a YouTuber. It makes me laugh. Let me get rid of my 1,000 lines. But when they rolled this product out, people don't understand like what that product does. If I ever set it up, I could literally for free put this on Rumble, put this on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook by hitting a button. Like there's no reason people are not eventually going to have a Rumble account. There's really very little reason. It's going to drive tons of traffic to them. And it's very, very smart. What's up, Claudia? PANW. The plan for ARM is to trade it today. All these software names, they're all breaking out, guys. I think that's where we're going next in the software. It's what it seems like. I like it a lot. There's very little value I'm going to add there. TMF, you got to watch today. Watch the 1 o'clock. PayPal's in a lot of trouble. You look marvelous. He makes me so uncomfortable. But I'm sitting in a hole, right? It's like I'm in a hole. I think it's the eye level of the camera. I've got it between two screens. I think that's what's doing it. RL looks good. What's up, Riesh? Thanks, Joseph. I was hoping it wasn't too much for a Wednesday, but when I have it in my head, I try to get it out, or else the ADD kicks in and I'll go into the next thing. I mean, I'm in here, but is today the day? I'll tell you which one that people are really not paying attention to is JetBlue, but I think they should be looking at that. CIM, I have a position in. There's not really much to say or to do here. You need to hold here. You need to hold. And if you don't, you got a problem. You have a 1222 that's crossing. You have a 200 here. DG looks good. Let me do DG. I'm not going to go over those dumb stocks. The whole HOLO and HKIT, they're both probably going to rip and then collapse. It's just trade them. I would watch anything under. PayPal's done long term. I'd watch anything under the 200. We're going to get to this quick. See if there's anything in here. IWM, no. PLTR, I did look into. Yeah, agreed. And they should. They actually should be wiping it free. They shouldn't actually be nonprofits. Maersk is going to get killed today. I don't trade coin that much. What's up, Nina? I don't really trade coin that much. I mean, candidly, I have a short position. I think I'm okay with it too. I need to break here. If I break here, I'm short coin and I'm short Mara. I really haven't done anything with them. Now you are watching this, right? So like this is starting to get a footing, Nina. You see that? So I might have a problem there, right? Here, I'll show you, Nina. Give me 1 second. Let me pop that in, pop that down, pop that off. So see how you're holding that 55? All right, that's really institutional support levels. So I could be wrong on my short. And if you want to get super technical, I'm going to have to jump. If you want to get super technical, I held support, right? So resistance became what? Bonk, bonk, support. And I'm short. So I may be the one with the problem. Could be early, right? Maybe you look at the 8, the 5, the 3. You're still struggling with the 5 here, aren't you? So you probably want something like before you get involved, like what would I want to think that I'm wrong? I probably want them to start being aligned a little bit where like the 8, the 5, and the 3 are all correlated. That might convince me that I have a problem. right? And so far, I tried once and then just got matumboed. So, but let's just call it what it is. For the past 3 days, boom, 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 right? So the past 3 days, you should have broke there. I'm going to spend time on this. I'm going to get a lot of people that are going to ask me about these names. So might as well get into it. So left shoulder head, right shoulder on a 15, right? Tries to break, matumbo, break until what? Till support becomes support. And now it's support. It didn't break. So you might want to watch that today. And then you might want to watch that level right there, 120.92. See how it goes. I do rock, don't I? Save recovered. Uber looks like a beast, dude. I had no idea they made that kind of money on ad rev. I don't know who's advertising there. What, through Uber Eats? AMD has some issues. If semis get hit, AMD's toast, dude. It's toast. That's the one I've been shorting. Rivian, avoid EVs. EVs are done. All right, guys, I got to go. Trade to win.